I'm here today with Anders of In Flames to talk about the new record, Foregone, out February 10th on Nuclear Blast. How are you doing today?
I am doing really well. It's cold and snowy in Sweden, but all good.
Same thing in Canada, at least in Toronto, where I am.
That's why we feel so connected with you Canadians.
Yeah. We have the hockey, we have the weather, a little bit of that melancholy. So I think there's a lot of things in common between Sweden and Canada.
Yeah, very true, very true.
So after 14 records, this is the 14th album. What keeps motivating you and driving you, not just to create new records, but to push the band and to push yourself?
I mean, we first and foremost, we love what we do, and being able to work with something which is a passion, and then being able to travel the world and meet people all over the place and see smiles and happy faces. It's just, I guess that's what's motivate us, you know. If there would be one day where you walk off stage and not feeling happy, and your headspace is somewhere else, then it's time to go. But up until that time, you know, we will continue to do this as long as we can, and we have the strength.
The strength to continue to do it. Let me ask you about this specific record, 14th album, an album that comes after the pandemic. I don't know how much the pandemic impacted you guys as far as the creative process is concerned, but was the creative process different on this record versus the previous albums?
I think our intentions are the same, you know. I definitely, pandemic had a major impact lyrically, for sure, but I think also emotionally on us, you know, not being able to hang out and see, I mean, the guys in the band, the crew, the fans and everyone, and just you realize you can't take things for granted anymore. And because it's easy, I think it's easy for bands like us, you know, you record an album, release an album, and you go on tour, and you expect people to buy a ticket to the show, buy merch and buy albums, and it's just an, you know, what do you say, hamster wheel, you know. And when that is not happening, and you don't know the situation, then you realize what is worth, you know, why you're doing what you do. So I think all of this had an impact on the album, and you know, people were having tough times in the world, for sure. I mean, I was fortunate, my family, we got COVID, but no one got hurt, and I still have my job. But you know, it impacted a lot of people on different levels. So being able to continue, this is all that matters to me. And not, you know, obviously my family, but you know, so it's very, very important and dear to me. So this definitely had a huge impact on why the album sounds the way it does.
I want to take that and break it down into two, which you mentioned the lyrics and you mentioned the sound. Let's go a little bit at the lyrics first. You mentioned that the pandemic impacted those lyrics. How do you approach the lyrical process on a record? Do you normally write, or do you go from the song to how that song makes you feel, and then there comes the lyrical content? How does it work?
I mean, I write small things here and there on my phone. It could be when I'm out walking with the dogs or whatever, something just pops in my head or whatever, or I watch a movie or something, you know. It's all different situations, but usually I vibe off the music, and you get a feel and what you want to write about and so on. So early, like in the beginning of our career, I wrote things down ahead, and then I try to squeeze the lyrics into a song, you know. And now I vibe more of the music, so it has a certain melody, a flow, and it feels like it's more dynamic that way. So yeah, we create the music. I sit on the couch with a guitar or a piano or a keyboard, and I come up with melodies.
Does that creative process, lyrical wise, then impact the way you approach the songs vocally as well?
Yeah, for sure. And when we write, it's very open. We start writing, we program the drums, and then we write the riffs and stuff like that. So so it could be like even in the studio, the way I sing and the way I do some melodies, we have to rearrange some stuff. So when everything is recorded, that's when we are everything except the drums. Then when we feel the song is there as a complete, then we record the drums. So it's all connected all the way from the beginning to the end, you know.
You mentioned the sound on this record being different. One thing I notice, maybe an underlying thing that I noticed listening to the record, is that this is perhaps a little bit of a darker In Flames album than some of the previous albums. Do you get that same vibe?
It depends on what you mean. I mean, like lyrically, it's been very dark in the past too, and some tones on the albums. I think, you know, it's always there in a way. I mean, we have that. The melody and the aggression that's the In Flames DNA, and we have those happy but sad tones. Do you know what I mean? Like that, comes from the folk melodies, like from our past. It's always present. But this album, I think, is more aggressive, and it could be darker. But I mean, yeah, lyrically, it's not a happy album for sure. You know, just look at the state of the world, and it's not like you're going out and feel, oh, we're on the right path. You know, it's like, I think the way we talk to each other, the way we behave, it's not positive. We need to change direction. So yeah, it's not a positive outlook, and this album is more me looking out than a lot of the previous albums with been me looking inwards, you know.
The reason I said about that underlining darkness is because I felt like even on the songs, this is a very intense and aggressive record sound-wise, and even vocally, I would say. But I felt like even the songs that maybe you take the foot off the pedal a little bit, those songs still feel dark in the lyrical content and the emotions that it came through. And that's what I meant. It was more, that underlining darkness was a little bit more consistent, I should say, from start to finish.
Yeah, you might be true. I love that observation, but I mean, when we're creating it, it's just, I mean, we were coming off the pandemic, and as soon as the pandemic was over, we had a war in Europe, and that was on the TV all the time when we recorded this album. So, and seeing the reports and the way that went down are still happening, of course. I mean, that have an impact on the album as well. So yeah, it's present for sure. And yeah, the thing I love with our music, it's so, people have so many opinions, which is awesome. And all different feelings, and I would never want to change that. I think everybody's definitely entitled, and I love that, you know, we can bring so many emotions, you know, out of people.
When I posted on my Facebook page that this is In Flames' best record in the last 20 years, and the first thing that people ask me is it old In Flames, it's new In Flames? I'm sure you've heard those expressions a million times.
No, this time.
First time. I felt like this album had In Flames. Do you know what I mean? It's not old, it's not new, it's who you guys have always been, maybe more in a consistent, aggressive, intensive way. But how would you describe, in your own point of view, the overall sound experience of the album?
I mean, it's so difficult. The thing is, I don't like to label it. I want you and everyone else to have your own interpretation. I mean, I write and record, or we write and record the album, and we own it for a little bit. And now we're about to release the album. It's not ours anymore now. Like 10th of February, it doesn't belong to us anymore. It's someone else's. And I want you to make it into yours. I want you to tell me what you feel about the lyrics, how the music, where it takes you, so on. And I think I said it, I think I said it in a promo, like as soon as we started doing some promo for this album. It feels like it's a good blend of the past and the present and wherever we're going. And I mean, I really believe that. I think this has, I mean, if you don't like this album and you don't think this is the In Flames for you, then you should give up. You know, like this is what
I agree 1,000%.
This is what we have to offer, and this is who we are, you know. And I get it. It's, you know, it's very difficult to compete when you hear an album for the first time. I'm the same, you know. I you know, with the Maiden, Priest, the Queen's, whatever albums, like the first albums I hear, those are the ones that I compare all the rest to, and it's really difficult to get that, you know, that first feeling. And I know we're in for the, you know, the same. We have, you mentioned 14 albums, and of course, you know, it's difficult. But something I find that it's really rewarding. It's like when we do meet and greets and we meet fans when we out playing, you can have a guy who loves the Jester Age next to a girl that her first album is Battles, and that means the world to her. And as long as everybody can agree that we're all different and live in, like, we all can have that, and I think it's amazing. What I don't like is when fans or people, not just us, when they are like, you know, I like this and you're wrong, you should supposed to just listen to this and that. And it's like when you fight amongst each other, what is your taste really, then I think we're on the wrong path. But I love the fact that we all think different, you know. So
yeah, and there's a little bit of everything for everybody.
Yeah.
What kind of impact, because I have my own theory on this, but I want to hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak. What kind of impact did Chris Broderick have on the sound of this album?
He's you know, we known him for a long time, like from the Jag Panzer and Nevermore days, so we knew him on a personal level. So he brought, I mean, stability, and he's just an overall amazing person that play guitar all the time. And I mean all the time. In the tour bus, he's like, where's Chris? Oh, he's in the back lounge playing guitar. We know that, you know. So Björn and I are the ones that we write and arrange and do the music and lyric. But then we left some space for Chris to come in to do some solos, and he you know, he did amazing for sure. Like, but I think overall, what the other guys bring, and Chris bring, Tanner and Bryce, they bring so much in. I mean, obviously the recording, because they recorded their own material, and they are so talented. But live, it's where we shine the most. I mean, these days at least. And I know it's too early to we were just about to release this new album, but if we can keep this lineup intact, I'm really looking forward to what's gonna happen, you know, on the next one, when we've been, you know, together for another 3 years or whatever it might be, and then we can really see, and I think everybody will really shine. So,
well, I've seen this lineup in 3 different shows in Toronto on 3 different tours, and I feel like you guys have gotten better and better as a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, I know, I think so too. And it's not a trying to say anything bad about, you know, anyone else who've been in the band. It's just like, I feel right now we have a really strong lineup, and it sounds amazing.
How was this album for you vocally? What did you take, or what did you get from it?
I mean, every time I try to my dogs are just barking. Every time I try to become better at my instrument, you know, I'm not trying to be the best singer in the world. I'm just trying to I want to be able to if I have an idea, I want to be able to get there, you know, not just dream of the idea, you know. I want to go there for sure. And I've, since coming to LA, and we did Battles and I the Mask, and now this one, I've been going to a vocal coach, and he's been so amazing to me, and you know, on so many levels. And he helped me to learn how to breathe and how to execute, you know, way better when it's time for me to do my thing. And it helps live, it helps in the studio for sure. And you know, and the thing is, it's a collaboration as well with the music. I can't just go on my own path. It has to fit well with the music. So when the energy is up musically and with the instruments, I want to be there too and just hammer it out. But I feel I'm better with the more screamy voice, the harsh voice, but also with the more clean voice. I've achieved greater heights, or whatever you want to call it.
Within that range that you have it with the work that you've been doing with the coach, what part of your range do you feel easier to connect with, and what part do you end up working more on?
I mean, what I think helped me a lot. It's like, because we don't, I mean, when we practice, we don't do any screams. It's more like the cleaner parts, but those things have helped me to make the more screamy vocals more, so you can hear him. I want it to be aggressive, but at the same time I want you to be able to hear what I'm singing about, you know. And I think that is something I learned, and I've not mastered is not the right word, but as good as it ever been on this album for sure. And it's just and also the power, you know, to be able to hold notes longer and more stable or whatever.
Not before, but while you guys were on this last North American tour, I got a chance to talk to Bjorn on the channel. And he mentioned to me that one of the reasons he likes to go to the studio is because it means we're making a new album, and that gives him a chance to go on the road and playing live. He associated creating music just as an excuse to play live. Do you feel the same way?
No, but I love playing live. I love it. I think I am more of a studio. Like I love being in the studio. I love the fact of going to a place with nothing and coming out with something that you feel as a band, as a person, is 100% complete. You know, because you created something that didn't exist before, and that, I think that's amazing. But that being said, I love being on stage. I love going on the tour. But I think me and him are a little bit different in that. I think I could be in the studio for hours and hours. But I'm a gear junkie too, so I love, you know, like I want to be there with the guitars, with the drums, with the vocals, with bass, everything, you know. So I'm nerd that way.
Is it becoming harder and harder for you guys to put a set list together that satisfies everybody?
Oh yeah, yes, that satisfies everybody. Yes, for sure. You know, there's always someone walking away being like, I didn't play my favorite song. But I mean, that's part of it. And headlining is of course easier. I want to show everything that's In Flames. You know, I want to play something from the first one. I want to play stuff from the latest one. And as soon as you release a new album, you want to present the new songs, and all the tracks has to be sacrificed, I guess. But it's about finding the right balance and the dynamic. I mean, that's the same with an album. It has to be a dynamic within the album. It can't be just fast songs or just slow songs. For me, I think about side A, side B when I go into an album. I think kind of the same when I create a set list for a show. You know, it has to follow a certain pace or a certain dynamic. And I know I'm pushing Bjorn, like we should play longer and longer so we can add more songs, but you know, there's that. We'll see about that. There's always a discussion to be held.
So if an album is not represented on the set list, that's not a negative remark on that record from your point of view. It's just that you don't have room.
No. People have to understand, like we love our past. I mean, we are here because of our past. And if you take away one thing from the past, this would not happen where we are today. So everything is important. It's just that in the beginning of my career, I think we thought about the studio and live in two different ways. Now we think about the live situation already when we write the music. And when you got in the studio in the early days, you're like, oh, we can add guitar upon guitar upon guitar. And then you had like 10 guitar layers, and then it was time to play live and you have 2 guitar players, you know, like so we have to think about it in different ways. But no. I mean, I love every single song and everything that we've done. So yeah.
Your interactions with the fans live are legendary. I honestly, I go as much for the music as I go for the in-between track entertainment that you provide. If you were not a musician, would stand-up comedy be the path for you?
I think I would fail, but I don't know. I mean, you know, I don't know what it is. It's just, I personally, I enjoy it myself. I just don't want to. I have a more fun time talking to the fans, and I want people to leave feeling like they've been seen, you know, or heard, or whatever it is, and make it a special night. It's not just next song is called, next song is called, next. It's like, to me, that's then you can listen to an album instead. You know, like it has to be this. For me, it's the trading of energy back and forth, and that hopefully makes it a better night for everyone. You know?
How many selfies have you taken with fans' cell phones?
It's been a few. It's been a few.
You haven't broken any cell phone, I'm assuming.
No. I think I've not so far. Maybe. No. I don't think so. They're good catching them too. So when I throw them,
you get really up and close. So there's a really good exchange. There's a nice exchange at most times, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Again, we love what we do, and you have to realize that. Like, we're so fortunate that we can do what we do. You know.
It shows. It really does. When you go see you guys live, it's not like you guys are like, we got to play one more show because that's what they paid us to do. Like, you really feel like every show is your first show of the tour.
Yeah, I mean, I have to credit Slayer a lot for showing us what it means. You know, like when we started touring, we got the chance to tour with them. And we came, it was early on, we came to America, and you know, whatever happened during the day, you don't bring that on stage unless it gives you energy to give the show that extra feeling, you know, like you shouldn't, your troubles and stuff like that, you shouldn't deal with that on stage in a way so it become a negative experience for the audience, you know. So playing the show is the best time of the day. The rest is just sitting and waiting for the next show.
One last question for you. When you're not in the studio, which I know now that you love being in the studio, when you're not on tour, when you're not taking selfies and putting your comedic relief to good use.
Taking selfies. I'm not.
What do you like to do for fun outside of music?
I'm in my studio now. I'm in my home studio right now. So I spend a lot of time here. What I like to do, I spend time with family and friends, and I love to cook, so I do that a lot, you know. Play video games, watch tons and tons of movies and series and stuff like that. So just trying to stay sane in this world, you know.
It's difficult these days.
Yeah. But I'm glad that I can travel the world, though. I mean, and be in different elements in different part of the world. So that makes it a little bit easier.
Well, Anders, thank you very much for your time today. I truly appreciate it. The album comes out February 10th on Nuclear Blast. Go check it out. One of the best records you guys have released. I absolutely love it. And I think I've listened to it like 20 times. It never gets old. Great record. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the next time you guys play in Toronto, and all the best.
Thank you very much. So are we. Thank you.
Take care.
Take
Bye.
care.